Metropolitan magazine folded after a lawsuit from another source they defamed. I can't say I'm sorry. Lionel Crane was arrested for corporate espionage and unauthorized access to company servers. The trial is ongoing, but Rebecca is confident he'll face serious consequences. Turns out revenge has a price. And Darius? He's still the CEO, still demanding and brilliant and occasionally frustrating. But now when he gets stressed, he comes to the 5th floor and sits with the kids in art class, painting terrible abstract pieces that they politely compliment. He laughs more, softens more, shows the world the man his mother raised him to be. Today is the anniversary of my first day at Castellanos Global. Exactly 1 year since I walked into that building desperate and afraid, willing to endure anything for my family. I'm standing in front of 42 teenagers who just graduated from our programs. Some are heading to college on full scholarships. Others landed apprenticeships with tech companies. All of them have opportunities they didn't have before. You did this, I tell them. Not me. Not this program. You? We just gave you tools. You built your own futures. They applaud, and I see Mama in the audience crying proud tears. Malik sits beside her, hair growing back, color in his cheeks, alive and thriving. Darius watches from the back of the room. When our eyes meet, he smiles, that private smile that's just for me. After the ceremony, we drive to Brooklyn for dinner at the little Ethiopian restaurant that's become our place. No photographers. No board members. Just us. I'm proud of you, he says over injera, and what? We're a team, I remind him. You built that program into something extraordinary, he insists. I just provided resources. The vision was all you. I reach across the table and take his hand. You provided more than resources. You provided a chance. A choice. Freedom to actually use my education instead of just surviving. His thumb strokes across my knuckles. I was thinking about something. Dangerous, I tease. He laughs. The board wants to expand the youth model nationally. Open programs in 10 cities over the next 5 years. My heart leaps. That's incredible. It would mean travel. Long hours. Building teams from scratch. He pauses, watching my face. But it would also mean impacting thousands of kids instead of dozens. Changing the entire landscape of corporate social responsibility. I can already see it, the possibilities, the challenges, the sheer scope of what we could accomplish. I'm in, I say immediately. You didn't even hear the salary, he points out. Don't care. I tell him honestly. This isn't about money anymore. This is about legacy. This is about proving that business and compassion aren't opposites. Something shifts in his expression. There's one more thing. What? He reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a small velvet box. My breath stops. I'm not proposing, he says quickly, seeing my panic. Not yet. Not until you're ready. But I wanted you to have this. He opens the box to reveal a delicate gold necklace with a small pendant, a key. My mother wore this every day, he says quietly. She told me it represented unlocking potential in others. When she died, I put it away because I'd forgotten what that meant. He lifts the necklace carefully. You reminded me, so I want you to have it. To remember that you hold keys to futures, those kids, this company, and maybe. He swallows hard. Maybe mine too. Tears blur my vision as he fastens the necklace around my neck. The key rests just above my heart, warm from his hands. I love you, I whisper. First time I've said it out loud. His eyes close briefly, like the words physically moved him. I love you too. Have for months. Maybe since that day, you walked out of the bus terminal and I realized I just lost the best thing that ever happened to me. We sit there in a Brooklyn restaurant, holding hands across a table, two people who found each other in the worst possible way and somehow built something beautiful from the wreckage. My phone buzzes. Keisha, girl. You need to see this. Check the times. I pull up the article on my phone and gasp. From viral scandal to national model, how Amara Baptiste transformed corporate giving. It's a full feature. Interviews with kids from the program, data on our success rates, analysis of our expansion model. They even quote several board members praising the initiative. And at the very end, a quote from Victoria Chin. Ms. Baptiste represents the future of ethical leadership, someone who leads with both competence and compassion. We're fortunate to have her. I show Darius the article, my hand shaking. He reads it, then looks up at me with pure pride. You did it. You changed the narrative completely. We did it. I correct him. Together. He signals for the check, and as we walk out into the cool New York evening, his arm around my shoulders, I think about the girl who walked into Glassspire Tower a year ago. Scared. Desperate. Willing to endure abuse for a paycheck. She's still here. But she's not scared anymore. What are you thinking about? Darius asks as we walk toward his car. How far we've come. I say. How none of this went the way I expected. Good different or bad different. I stop walking, turning to face him under the streetlights. The best different. Because a year ago, I thought success meant survival. Just getting through each day without breaking. But you taught me something. What's that? That success isn't about enduring. I tell him. It's about transforming. Taking the worst moments and building something meaningful from them. Your mother knew that. And now we know it too. He kisses me then, soft and slow, and I taste possibility and promise and futures we're building together. When we finally pull apart, he rests his forehead against mine. Thank you. For what? For not giving up, he says quietly. On the job. On me. On the idea that people can actually change. You're welcome, I whisper. Thank you for seeing me when everyone else just saw a problem to manage. We drive back to Manhattan, fingers intertwined, and I watch the city lights blur past my window. Somewhere in this city, there's a girl like I was, scared, desperate, wondering if she'll ever be more than her circumstances. And tomorrow, I'll get to tell her yes. Yes, you can be more. Yes, you can transform pain into purpose. Yes, you can stand your ground even when the whole world tells you to bow. Because sometimes the greatest power doesn't come from never falling down. It comes from standing back up. Every single time. My phone buzzes one more time. A text from Mama. Malik wants to know when you're coming home for Thanksgiving. And baby? I'm so proud of who you've become. I type back, 2 weeks. And Mama? I'm bringing someone special for you to meet. Darius glances over at the message and smiles. Think she'll like me? She already does, I assure him. She's just going to give you the protective mother speech about treating her daughter right. I can handle that, he says confidently. Can you handle her asking when we're getting married? He laughs, rich and warm. One crisis at a time, remember? One crisis at a time. I agree. But as we pull up to my apartment building, and he walks me to my door like he does every night, as he kisses me goodnight and promises to call me when he gets home, as I watch him drive away into the Manhattan night, I realize this isn't a crisis at all. This is exactly what happiness looks like. Messy. Complicated. Hard-won and battle-tested. But real. Finally, beautifully real. I touch the key pendant at my throat and smile. Because Darius was right about one thing. His mother's legacy isn't just about unlocking potential in others. It's about having the courage to unlock your own. And I'm just getting started. And that's where Amara and Darius's story comes to a close, for now. But their journey reminds us that transformation is always possible, that standing your ground changes everything, and that real love isn't about perfection. It's about two people choosing each other every single day. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you believe in second chances, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next powerful story coming to this channel. We have more stories of courage, redemption, and unexpected love that will leave you thinking long after the video ends. And here's what I want to know. What would you have done in Amara's position? Would you have stayed and fought, or walked away when things got hard? Drop your answer in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else who's facing their own impossible choice right now. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that they're stronger than they think. That dignity matters more than convenience. That quiet justice always arrives when you have the courage to stand your ground. Remember, your value isn't determined by how others treat you. It's determined by how you treat yourself when everyone else walks away. Until the next story, keep standing tall. Keep believing in transformation. And never, ever let anyone convince you that your dreams are too big or your voice is too small. I'll see you in the next one. Now go out there and unlock your own potential. Peace. You will apologize to her in front of everyone. The word slides through the ballroom like broken glass. I stand there, my hands shaking, but not from fear. It's rage. Pure, white-hot rage that I've been swallowing for 12 months straight. Across from me stands Javon Whitmore, my ex-husband. The man who promised me forever under a Carolina moon, then traded that promise for a woman young enough to still believe his lies. The ballroom glitters around us, crystal chandeliers throwing light across marble floors, champagne fountains bubbling in corners where tech moguls and fashion executives pretend not to stare. But they're all watching. Every single one of them. Their phones are out. Cameras rolling. This moment will be on every gossip site by morning. Javon's new woman, Sienna Vale, stands beside him in a dress that costs more than most people's cars. She's smiling. That soft, delicate smile she uses when she wants the world to think she's fragile. But I know better. I've watched her work a room. I've seen the calculations behind those doe eyes. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. The crowd presses closer. I can smell expensive perfume mixed with curiosity. Someone coughs. A glass clinks. The DJ stopped the music 2 minutes ago, and now there's only silence and the sound of my heartbeat thundering in my ears. Javon looks at me like I'm a problem he's finally ready to solve. Celeste, you've caused enough damage. It's time to be the bigger person. The bigger person. I almost laugh. This man, this billionaire tech genius who built an empire on my ideas, is asking me to be bigger. The same man who erased my name from every patent, every press release, every piece of the company we built together in our cramped Atlanta apartment before the money came. Sienna steps forward. Her hand rests on Javon's arm, light as a butterfly, possessive as a brand. I just want peace, she whispers, but her voice carries. She made sure it would carry. I know you're hurting, Celeste, but holding on to anger won't change what's done. My jaw clenches so hard I taste copper. The crowd murmurs. I hear someone whisper. She looks unhinged. Another voice answers. I heard she tried to sabotage the merger. Lies. All lies. But lies told often enough become truth in rooms like this. Javon's eyes meet mine. For just a second, less than a heartbeat, something flickers there. Regret maybe. Or memory. The ghost of the man who used to trace my shoulders at sunrise and call me his North Star. Then it's gone. Apologize, he says again. Softer now. Almost gentle. That's worse somehow. Do this one thing, and we can all move forward. Clean slate. My throat tightens. The room spins slightly. I've been backed into corners before. Boardrooms, courtrooms, his mother's dining room where she told me I wasn't good enough for her son. But this corner is different. This corner is public. I take one step forward. Then another. My heels click against marble. Each step echoes like a countdown. The crowd parts. Cameras flash. Javon's jaw relaxes. He thinks he's won. Sienna's smile widens. I reach the stage where they're standing. A microphone waits on a stand nearby, probably planted there for this exact moment. Javon planned this. Every detail. Every witness. This whole gala is theater, and I'm supposed to play the apologetic ex-wife who finally learned her place. I pick up the microphone. The weight of it feels familiar. I used to do the keynote speeches while Javon handled the tech demos. Back when we were partners. Back when my voice mattered. An apology, I say. My voice comes out steady. Clear. Yes. You're right. Someone here deserves one. Javon exhales. His shoulders drop half an inch. Sienna clutches her champagne glass tighter. And that's when I smile. Not the smile they expect. Not broken or grateful or defeated. Something else entirely. I'm sorry, I begin, looking directly at Sienna, that you actually believed you could take something that was never really his to give. The room goes dead silent. Javon's face drains of color. And I'm just getting started. What would you do if someone demanded you apologize for their betrayal? Drop your answer in the comments. The silence in that ballroom is thick enough to choke on. Every eye burns into me, but I don't look away from Javon. Not yet. I want him to see what's coming before it hits. Let me tell you a story, I say into the microphone. My voice bounces off marble and crystal, fills every corner of this room that smells like old money and new scandals. About a girl from Detroit who met a boy from Virginia at a tech conference. She had 3 patents pending. He had charm and a trust fund that was almost empty. Javon steps forward. Celeste, don't what? I cut him off. Don't tell the truth? That's never been your strong suit anyway. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Phones tilt higher. Someone near the back starts live streaming. I can see the red recording dot from here. Good. Let them watch. We met on a Tuesday, I continue. He spilled coffee on my presentation notes. Offered to buy me dinner as an apology. I said yes because he had this smile that made you feel like the only person in the room. My chest tightens remembering it. The way he looked at me that night. Like I was magic. 6 months later, we got married at City Hall. His mother didn't come. Said I was a distraction from his destiny. Javon's mother, Gloria Whitmore, stands near the bar. Her diamond necklace catches the light. Her face doesn't. Our first apartment was in Midtown, I say. 400 square feet. Roaches in the kitchen. But we didn't care. We worked 18-hour days building something revolutionary. A tech platform that would change how small businesses access capital. I wrote the algorithm. Javon sold the vision. This part is true. Every investor meeting, every pitch deck, every line of code that made Whitmore Financial Solutions actually work, that was me. But the world only remembers his face on magazine covers. When we landed our first major investor, we celebrated with gas station wine on the roof. I can still taste it. Sweet and terrible. Javon told me we'd never forget where we came from. That we'd always be partners. My voice cracks on that last word. I hate that it does. But some wounds are still fresh even after they've scarred over. Sienna shifts uncomfortably. Her smile is gone now. Javon reaches for her hand, but she pulls away. Small movement. Everyone notices. The company exploded, I continue. Suddenly we had offices in 12 cities. Staff of 200. Revenue in the billions. Forbes put Javon on their cover. Called him the Black Bill Gates. I pause. Let that sink in. They never mentioned me. Not once. Even though my name was on every founding document. Every patent. Every contract that kept this empire legal. Murmurs spread like fire. Board members exchange looks. I see James Chin, one of Javon's oldest investors, pull out his phone. Probably texting his lawyers. Then came Sienna. I finally look at her. She flinches. Hired as a brand consultant. 24 years old. Columbia MBA. Beautiful in that way that makes men stupid. This is slander. Sienna starts, but her voice shakes. It's documentation. I correct. I have emails. Text messages. Hotel receipts. The Ritz in Dubai. The Peninsula in Beverly Hills. Even that little bed and breakfast in Savannah where you told him you could be the partner I never was. Javon's face goes from pale to gray. You hacked my accounts? I didn't have to. You used our joint tablet. Forgot to log out. I shrug. Funny how carelessness catches up with you. The crowd is buzzing now. Excited. Hungry. This is better than reality TV. This is blood in the water. I filed for divorce quietly. I say. Took my settlement. Walked away. Because I actually loved you once, Javon. Loved you enough to let you keep the lie. His jaw works. No words come out. But tonight? I set the microphone back on its stand. Carefully. Deliberately. Tonight you made a mistake. You brought me here to humiliate me. To prove you'd moved on. To show everyone that Celeste Raines was just a bitter ex-wife clinging to past glory. I step closer to him. Close enough that only he can hear my next words. You should have let me stay quiet. Then I turn to the crowd. Smile bright. Lethal. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. I know I will. I walk off that stage with my head high. My dress, deep emerald silk I bought specifically for this moment, swishes with each step. Behind me, chaos erupts. Questions shouted. Flashbulbs popping. Javon's voice trying to regain control, but failing. I push through the ballroom doors into the cool Atlanta night. My phone buzzes immediately. Text from Nia, my lawyer, and only real friend left after the divorce. Girl, you're trending. Hashtag Celeste Claps Back has 40K tweets. What did you do? I smile at my phone. Type back. Just getting started. Because what Javon doesn't know, what nobody in that room knows, is that I didn't just walk away from our marriage. I walked away with something much more valuable. Think she's done? You have no idea what's coming. Comment below if you saw this twist coming. My penthouse is quiet when I get home. Too quiet. The kind of silence that used to scare me back when Javon first left, and I had to relearn how to exist alone. I kick off my heels. They land on Italian marble with expensive little thuds. This place, 32nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Piedmont Park, was my consolation prize. Javon kept the house in Buckhead. I kept the view. Fair trade? I thought at the time. I was an idiot. My phone won't stop buzzing. Notifications flood in like a digital tsunami. Twitter. Instagram. Text messages from numbers I don't recognize. One from my mother in Detroit. Baby, what's happening? Your face is all over the news. I pour myself bourbon. Neat. The good stuff Javon bought for celebrating deals. I took 3 bottles when I moved out. Call it petty. I call it justice. The city glitters below me. Somewhere out there, Javon is probably in crisis mode. PR team scrambling. Lawyers drafting cease and desist letters. Sienna crying in a bathroom, realizing the fairy tale just turned into a nightmare. But I'm not thinking about them. I'm thinking about what happens next. See, everyone assumes tonight was emotional revenge. A scorned woman finally snapping. And sure, part of it was. I'm human. Watching the man you love parade his mistress in front of you does something to your soul. But the real reason I showed up tonight? Javon gave me the perfect opening. My laptop sits on the glass coffee table. I flip it open. Type in a password that would take his tech team months to crack. A folder opens. Inside, 23 documents. Each one a tiny bomb waiting to detonate. The first file is labeled, Whitmore Financial Solutions Founding Articles. I click it open. There, on page 7, paragraph 3, in legal language most people skip over, Celeste Raines retains 49% equity ownership contingent on dissolution Clause 14C. Clause 14C states that in the event of gross misconduct by the primary shareholder, equity distribution reverts to original founding percentages. Gross misconduct. Like, say, fraud, or misrepresentation, or, and this is my favorite, using company funds for personal affairs. That bed and breakfast in Savannah? Company card. The Dubai Hotel? Company card. Every gift, every trip, every penny Javon spent on Sienna while we were still married? Company funds. I take a long sip of bourbon. It burns perfectly. My phone rings. Nia's face fills the screen. I answer. You're insane, she says immediately. No hello. Just facts. Absolutely certifiably insane. And also brilliant. I'm watching the video on repeat. His face when you walked off? Priceless. Did you file the paperwork? I ask. Her tone shifts. Gets serious. This morning, 8 a.m. Judge Montgomery has it on her desk. She owes me a favor from the Patterson case. Judge Evelyn Montgomery. Civil Court. Known for zero tolerance of corporate fraud. Also a woman who had her own public divorce 3 years ago. Perfect. How long? I asked. 72 hours for preliminary review. If she approves the audit request, Whitmore Financial gets frozen pending investigation. Frozen. The word tastes sweet. And the media strategy? Marcus has contacts at Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, and TechCrunch. They're ready to run stories the moment the court filing goes public. Angle is, tech genius built empire on ex-wife's work. Marcus Webb. PR strategist. Used to work for Javon until he fired him for creative differences. Really, Marcus asked too many questions about where certain ideas originated. Now Marcus works for me. What about the investors? I asked. Nia laughs. Dark. Knowing. Oh, honey. James Chin already called me. Said he wants to talk. So does Patricia Okonkwo from Crest Ventures. They're smelling blood. Investors are like sharks. They don't care about loyalty. They care about returns. And a company built on stolen IP? That's a liability they'll cut loose fast. Set the meetings, I say. But not yet. Let them sweat first. You're enjoying this. I'm surviving this. There's a difference. After I hang up, I walk to the window. Press my palm against cool glass. Out there somewhere, Javon is probably telling Sienna that everything will be fine. That I'm just bitter. That he'll handle this. He won't. Because here's what he doesn't understand. I'm not the girl he married anymore. That girl believed in love and partnership and building things together. That girl thought loyalty mattered more than money. This version of me knows better. I learned from watching him. How to play chess while everyone else plays checkers. How to smile in public while sharpening knives in private. How to be patient, strategic, ruthless. My reflection stares back at me from the window. I barely recognize her sometimes. She's harder than the old Celeste. Colder. But she's also free in a way the old Celeste never was. My phone buzzes again. Unknown number. Against better judgment, I answer. Celeste. Javon's voice. Tight. Controlled. Barely. We need to talk. No, I say simply. We really don't. What you did tonight was truth-telling. You should try it sometime. Silence on his end. I can hear him breathing. Imagine him in his office at home, the one with a view of the golf course. Sienna probably hovering nearby, wondering if her meal ticket just expired. This doesn't have to get ugly, he says finally. I laugh. Actually laugh. Javon, it got ugly the day you decided I was replaceable. I never said. You didn't have to. You showed me. With every patent you filed without my name. Every interview where you forgot to mention your wife. Every investor meeting I wasn't invited to. You erased me in slow motion, then acted surprised when I noticed. More silence. What do you want? His voice drops. Almost pleading. Almost. And there it is. The question he should have asked a year ago. I want what's mine, I say softly. Everything you took. I'm taking back. I hang up before he can respond. My hands are shaking now. Not from anger. From adrenaline. From the terrifying realization that I just declared war on one of the most powerful men in Atlanta. But here's the thing about war. You don't start one unless you know you can win. And I've been planning this victory for exactly 347 days. She just made her first move. Drop a fire if you think she's going to take everything. Morning comes too fast. Sunlight slices through my bedroom blinds at angles designed to punish late nights and bourbon. My phone says it's 6:47 a.m. I've had 3 hours of sleep. Maybe. Doesn't matter. Today, the world finds out what I already know. I shower hot enough to hurt. Kid dressed in navy, power color, Nia taught me that. Press my hair smooth. Minimal makeup. I need to look controlled. Untouchable. Like a woman who didn't just blow up her ex-husband's life on camera. My phone has 412 new notifications. I don't check them. Not yet. First coffee. Then chaos. The coffee maker hums while I scroll through the news. And there it is. Front page of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution website. Tech mogul Javon Whitmore faces public scandal after ex-wife's explosive gala confrontation. The article includes screenshots from last night. My face mid-speech. Javon looking like he swallowed glass. Sienna's expression somewhere between shock and calculation. They interviewed sources close to the situation, which means whoever would talk for money. Most of it's speculation. But one quote stands out. Insiders say Celeste Raines may have legal grounds for a larger piece of Whitmore Financial. The divorce settlement was finalized quickly, with minimal disclosure. Some wonder what was left on the table. I smile into my coffee. That's Marcus's work. Planting seeds. Making reporters curious. By noon, investigative journalists will be digging through public records. By evening, they'll have questions Javon can't answer. My doorbell rings at 8:03 a.m. I check the security camera. It's Nia. She's holding a tablet and what looks like a breakfast sandwich. I brought food and bad news, she announces when I open the door. Pick which one you want first. Bad news. Javon's team filed an emergency restraining order. Claims you're harassing him and Sienna. Judge threw it out in 40 minutes, but they're pushing hard. Of course they are. Classic Javon. When you can't win on merit, weaponize the legal system. And the good news? Nia grins. Judge Montgomery approved the audit. Whitmore Financial's accounts get frozen at 5 p.m. today pending full investigation. We have them. Something in my chest releases. A breath I didn't know I was holding. How long for the investigation? 3 to 6 months. But that's not the timeline that matters. What matters is the optics. A company under federal audit loses investor confidence fast. Stock price? Opened down 14% this morning. Probably drops more when the freeze goes public. I take a bite of the breakfast sandwich. Egg and cheese. Still warm. Tastes like victory. What about the board? I asked. Emergency meeting called for this afternoon. Javon's trying to spin last night as a personal matter, not a business one. But James Chen's camp isn't buying it. They want answers about your founding role. James Chen. Old money Hong Kong family. Sharp as broken glass. He didn't invest in Whitmore Financial because he liked Javon's smile. He invested because the tech was revolutionary. My tech. I need to talk to James. I say. Before the board meeting. Nia raises an eyebrow. You sure? That's showing your cards early. Only the cards I want him to see. She shakes her head, but she's smiling. You're terrifying. You know that? I learned from the best. What I don't tell Nia, what I haven't told anyone, is that James already reached out. An email sent at 4:32 a.m. this morning. Subject line. Let's talk. Short message inside. Ms. Raines, I've reviewed the founding documents. We should discuss your vision for the company's future. Are you available today? Not. Your claims? Not. The allegations? Your vision. That's investor speak for. I'm listening. I meet James at a coffee shop in Virginia Highland. Neutral territory. Small enough to be private, public enough to be safe. He's already there when I arrive, sitting in a corner booth, reading the Times on an actual paper. Ms. Raines! He stands, offers his hand. I shake it. His grip is firm, respectful. Mr. Chen, thank you for meeting me. I don't do dramatics, he says once we're seated. So let me be direct. I invested $60 million into Whitmore Financial based on proprietary technology. Technology one now have reason to believe you developed. I don't flinch. I co-developed it. With Javon. But yes, the core algorithm was mine. And you can prove this? I slide a folder across the table. Inside, patent applications with my name. Original code repositories with my login history. Email chain showing idea development. Everything time-stamped. Everything documented. James flips through slowly. His face doesn't change, but his fingers pause on certain pages. The ones that matter. This is concerning, he says finally. Not just from an ethical standpoint. From a legal one. If the company's foundation is built on contested IP, every contract we've signed is vulnerable. I don't want to contest it. I say carefully. I want to reclaim it. His eyes meet mine. Explain. Javon built something beautiful from my idea. I'm not here to destroy that. I'm here to steer it back to its purpose. We started Whitmore Financial to help small businesses that banks ignored. Black-owned businesses. Women-owned businesses. People like us who get passed over for loans because we don't fit the traditional mold. James nods slowly. He knows this story. He lived it. But Javon shifted focus. I continue. Chase bigger deals. Corporate clients. Lost the mission. And you want to restore it. I want to lead it. There. Cards on the table. James leans back. Studies me. You're asking me to support a coup. I'm asking you to support the truth. You invested in a vision. That vision was mine. Still is. Silence stretches between us. Outside, people walk dogs, buy groceries, live normal lives where ex-husbands don't steal empires. What about the other investors? James asks. Patricia's already interested. So is David and Gwen from Summit Capital. They want stability. Javon's giving them scandal. The board won't vote against him easily. He has loyalists. Loyalists follow money. When the audit reveals how much company funds he misused, loyalty won't matter. James's mouth twitches. Almost a smile. You've thought this through. For 347 days. He closes the folder. Slides it back to me. I'll need 48 hours to review my options. But Ms. Raines? You're not wrong about the mission drift. I've been concerned for months. We shake hands again. This time, it feels like a promise. As I leave the coffee shop, my phone rings. Unknown number. Again. I almost don't answer. But something makes me. Celeste? It's Sienna. Her voice cracks on my name. Please. We need to talk. In person. It's important. Every instinct screams trap. But curiosity is stronger than caution. Fine. I say. 1 hour. Public place. You come alone. The mistress wants to talk. What do you think she's about to say? Comment your theories. I pick a restaurant in Buckhead. Upscale brunch place where mothers bring daughters, and business gets disguised as social. Safe. Visible. Hard to make a scene. Sienna arrives 12 minutes late. She's wearing jeans and an oversized sweater. No makeup. Hair in a messy bun. This is the first time I've seen her look human instead of curated. She slides into the booth across from me. Orders chamomile tea when the waiter asks. Her hands shake when she reaches for the sugar. Thank you for meeting me. She starts. I say nothing. Just wait. Let the silence work. I know you hate me, she continues. You have every right to. What I did, what we did, it was wrong. You're not here to apologize, I say flatly. So why are you here? She looks up. Her eyes are red. Either she's been crying or she's very good at faking it. With Sienna, it's hard to tell. He's cutting me off, she whispers. Javon. After last night, everything changed. He said I was a liability, that I needed to disappear for a while until things cooled down. I sip my coffee. Let her keep talking. But it's not just that. He's different now. Paranoid. Angry. He thinks you have something on him. Some proof that could destroy everything. Do I? She blinks. I don't know. That's why I'm here. To warn you. This makes me laugh. Actually laugh. Warn me. About what? The man I was married to for 6 years? I know exactly who Javon is. No. Sienna leans forward. Urgent now. You knew who he was. People change when they're desperate. And Celeste? He's desperate. Something in her tone makes me pause. There's real fear there. The kind you can't fake. What did he do? I ask carefully. He has people looking into you. Private investigators. Digging through your finances, your communications, your friends. He's building a case to discredit you before you can discredit him. My stomach tightens. I knew this was coming eventually. But hearing it confirmed still stings. Why tell me this? I ask. What do you get out of betraying him? Sienna's tea arrives. She wraps both hands around the cup like she's cold. Because I'm realizing I was never his partner. I was just another asset. and assets get liquidated when they're no longer useful. She looks at me then, really looks at me, and I see something I didn't expect. Recognition. You tried to warn me once, she says quietly. At that charity dinner, 6 months before the divorce. You pulled me aside and said something I didn't understand then. I remember. The botanical garden event. She was new to Javon's world, still starstruck. I'd had 3 glasses of wine and temporary courage. I told you to document everything, I say. You did. I thought you were just bitter. Jealous. But you weren't, were you? You were trying to save me from making your mistake. Did you? I ask. Document anything? Sienna reaches into her purse, pulls out a USB drive, sets it on the table between us. Everything, she says. Texts, emails, voice memos, even some financial records he thought I didn't notice. I'm not smart like you, Celeste. But I'm not stupid either. I knew this could end badly. I stare at the USB drive. It's small, black, unassuming. But if what she's saying is true, it's a nuclear weapon. Why give this to me? I asked. You could use it yourself. Negotiate a better exit. Because I don't want to be like him. Her voice breaks. I don't want to spend my life stepping on people to stay on top. I just want out. Clean. Safe. I pick up the drive. It's lighter than it should be for something that might change everything. If I use this, I say slowly, it'll destroy him. Completely. No recovery. I know. And you're okay with that? Sienna meets my eyes. He's not the man I thought he was. Maybe he never was. Maybe we both fell for the same lie. There's truth in that. Painful, complicated truth. I put the drive in my purse. I'll protect your name. Whatever I find, it won't blow back on you. Thank you. She stands. Leaves cash for her untouched tea. Celeste? For what it's worth. I'm sorry. Really. Not just for the affair. For judging you. For thinking I was better. She walks away before I can respond. I sit there for 10 minutes after she's gone. The USB drive feels like fire in my purse. Around me, people laugh, toast mimosas, take pictures of their food. Nobody knows the world just tilted. My phone buzzes. Nia, board meetings in 3 hours. You coming? I type back. Wouldn't miss it. But first, I need to know what's on this drive. I go home. Lock every door. Close every blind. Plug the USB into my laptop with hands that won't quite steady. 47 files. Organized by date. I start with the most recent. By file number 12, my jaw is clenched so hard it hurts. By file 23, I'm nauseous. By file 47, I know exactly how to end this. Javon didn't just steal my work. He's been systematically stealing from the company. Shell corporations. Offshore accounts. Money laundering disguised as consulting fees. And Sienna documented all of it. I call Nia. She answers on the first ring. Change of plans. I say. I'm not just taking back the company. I'm burning his entire world down. Everything just changed. Hit that subscribe button because Chapter 6 is where the real war begins. What do you think is on that drive? Tell me in the comments. The boardroom smells like leather and desperation. I walk in at exactly 2:58 p.m. 2 minutes early. Just enough to make them wait. Just enough to watch their faces when I enter. 12 board members sit around a table that probably costs more than most houses. Javon's at the head. Natural. Expected. He looks tired. Good. He should be. James Chen sits 3 seats down. He nods slightly when our eyes meet. Patricia Okonkwo, venture capitalist, Forbes 40 under 40, sits across from him. She doesn't acknowledge me, but her posture shifts. Alert. Ms. Rains! Javon's voice is controlled. Professional. Like we didn't have a screaming match 48 hours ago. Thank you for joining us. Though I'm not sure why you're here. This is a board meeting for active stakeholders. I am an active stakeholder, I say calmly. I don't sit. Not yet. Standing gives me height. Power. 49% equity holder, according to the original founding documents. Or did you forget that part? Murmurs around the table. David Nguyen from Summit Capital leans forward. I'm sorry, 49%? Our records show Ms. Rains received a settlement that was processed under false pretenses. Nia interrupts. She's behind me. I didn't plan the entrance together, but it works. The divorce settlement assumed Ms. Rains was a minor contributor to the company. Financial records prove otherwise. Javon's lawyer, some silver-haired man named Richard who charges $1,000 an hour, clears his throat. This is highly irregular. If Ms. Rains has legal concerns, they should be addressed through proper channels, not ambushing a board meeting. Ambushing? I smile. No. I was invited. James sent the calendar request himself. Every head turns to James. He doesn't flinch. Ms. Rains raised valid questions about the company's founding structure. As fiduciary board members, we're obligated to investigate. Javon's jaw tightens. This is a distraction. The company is under enough scrutiny after Celeste's public stunt. We need to focus on damage control, not entertaining bitter ex-wives. Bitter? The word tastes sharp. Javon, I'm not bitter. I'm thorough. I place my laptop on the table. Open it. The screen faces the board. On it, a spreadsheet. Dates. Amounts. Transaction codes. These are wire transfers from Whitmore Financial to a shell corporation called Valencia Holdings. I say. 37 transfers over 18 months. Total value, $4.2 million. Silence drops like a guillotine. Patricia leans closer to her screen. What is Valencia Holdings? A consulting firm, Javon says quickly. Legitimate business expense. They handled our international expansion strategy. Really? I click to the next slide. Because Valencia Holdings is registered to a P.O. box in Delaware. No employees. No office. No website. But it does have one director listed. I pause. Let them sweat. See it avail. The room erupts. Questions fire like bullets. Javon's face goes from pale to red to some color that doesn't have a name. That's a lie. He starts, but his voice cracks. It's public record, Nia says. She's enjoying this. I can tell. Filed with the Delaware Secretary of State. Ms. Vale is listed as principal officer. Every transfer can be traced directly to personal accounts she controls. You paid your mistress $4 million of company money? Patricia's voice could cut diamonds. While we were hemorrhaging cash trying to break into the European market? Javon stands. His chair scrapes loud. Violent. This is a setup. Celeste is manufacturing evidence to destroy me. I don't need to manufacture anything. I say softly. You did this yourself. Every transaction. Every transfer. You really thought nobody would notice? James pulls out his phone. Starts typing. Probably texting his lawyers. David does the same. So does Patricia. The rats are leaving the ship. Richard the lawyer tries to regain control. Even if these allegations are true, and I'm not conceding they are, this matter should be investigated privately. Not aired in front of the entire board. Oh, it gets better, I say. I'm almost enjoying this now. The way Javon's world is crumbling in real time. Because Valencia Holdings isn't the only shell company. There's also Meridian Consulting, and Apex Strategic Partners, and Blue Line Advisors. I click through slides, each one showing another fake company, another funnel for stolen money. Combined, these entities received over $12 million in the last 3 years. None of them provided actual services. All of them trace back to accounts controlled by either Mr. Whitmore or Ms. Vale. That's enough. Javon's voice is ice. This meeting is over. No, James says quietly. It's not. He stands, looks at Javon directly. I'm calling for an emergency vote. Removal of Javon Whitmore as CEO, effective immediately, pending full financial audit. Second, Patricia says without hesitation. David raises his hand. Third, for other board members follow. Hands up. Votes cast. Democracy in action. Javon looks around the room like a man drowning. You can't do this. I built this company. I made you all rich. You built it on her foundation. James says, nodding toward me. And you nearly destroyed it with greed. I need time to defend myself. To present my case. You'll have that opportunity. Richard says, though even he sounds defeated. But the board has spoken. You're suspended pending investigation. Javon grabs his briefcase. Looks at me. For just a second, I see the boy I married. The one who promised we'd change the world together. Then that boy disappears. You'll regret this, he says. No, I reply. I really won't. He walks out. The door closes behind him with a sound like an ending. The board sits in stunned silence. Then Patricia speaks. Ms. Raines, I assume you have a plan for interim leadership? I sit down. Finally. In the chair Javon just abandoned. I do. I say. But first, we need to talk about where this company lost its way. And how we're going to find it again. James smiles. I'm listening. For the next 2 hours, I lay out my vision. Not revenge. Not destruction. Restoration. We're going back to the original mission. Small business loans. Underserved communities. The people banks ignore. We're cutting corporate contracts that don't align with our values. We're rebuilding trust. By the time the meeting ends, I have unanimous support. Interim CEO. Effective immediately. I walk out of that building into Atlanta's sunset. The sky is orange and pink and purple. Beautiful. Like hope. My phone rings. Unknown number. I answer anyway. Congratulations. It's Javon. His voice is hollow. Empty. You won. This wasn't about winning. I say. Then what was it about? Truth. And taking back what you stole. He laughs. Bitter. Broken. You think you're better than me? You just destroyed a man's life on television. Used his own lover against him. You're exactly like me, Celeste. You just can't admit it. The words hit harder than they should. Maybe, I say quietly. But at least I'm honest about it. I hang up. Stand there on the sidewalk while people rush past. Going home. Going to dinner. Living simple lives without wars and betrayals and burned empires. Nia appears beside me. You okay? Ask me tomorrow. I say. Because tonight, I need to figure out who I am now that the fight is over. She got the company. But did she lose herself? Comment what you think happens next. 3 weeks later, and the world has moved on. That's the thing about scandals. They burn hot and fast, then fade when the next one catches fire. Javon's face disappeared from business magazines. Whitmore Financial rebranded to Raines and Whitmore Solutions. Keeping his name was James's idea, said it honored the foundation we built together. I agreed. Not for Javon. For the memory of who we used to be. The office feels different now. Lighter somehow. I repainted the executive suite. Out with the gray and steel. In with warm browns and deep greens. Colors that feel like home. My assistant, Kendra, 42, raised 3 kids while getting her MBA, buzzes my desk. Miss Raines, you have a visitor. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's personal. Who? Sienna Vale. My stomach tightens. I haven't seen her since that restaurant. Since she handed me the evidence that ended Javon's career. Send her in. Sienna looks different. Her hair's shorter. Natural curls instead of the blown-out straight style Javon preferred. She's wearing slacks and a blazer. Professional. Real. Hi, she says. Nervous. Like she's not sure she should be here. Hi. I gesture to the chair across from my desk. Sit. She does. Fidgets with her purse strap. I wanted to thank you for keeping me out of the news. The fraud investigation never mentioned my name. You didn't have to do that. You helped me. I say simply. I keep my promises. Still, you could have thrown me to the media. Let them tear me apart. I would have deserved it. I study her. This woman who I hated for so long. Who I blamed for destroying my marriage. Javon destroyed the marriage. I say. Not you. You were just the excuse he needed. Her eyes get watery. She blinks fast. That doesn't make what I did okay. No, it doesn't. But it makes it human. We sit in silence. Not comfortable exactly, but not hostile either. What are you doing now? I asked. Going back to school. Columbia accepted me into their social work program. I start in the fall. Social work? I know. Weird career change. She laughs softly. But I spent 2 years watching Javon step on people to climb higher. I want to spend the rest of my life helping people climb instead. Something in my chest shifts. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe just exhaustion. That's good. I say. Really good. Sienna stands. I should go. I just needed you to know that I'm trying to be better. To do better. Sienna. I stop her at the door. What you did, giving me that information, it took courage. Don't forget that. She nods. Wipes her eyes. Leaves. I sit there for a long time after she's gone, thinking about choices and consequences and how people surprise you. My phone buzzes. Text from Marcus, my PR guy. Wall Street Journal article dropped. You need to see this. I open my laptop. Pull up the Wall Street Journal website. Headline. From Victim to Victor, How Celeste Raines Rebuilt an Empire. The article is long. Detailed. Fair, even. It talks about the founding of Whitmore Financial. My role in developing the core technology. The divorce. The gala confrontation. The fraud investigation. But it also talks about the changes I'm implementing. The shift back to community-focused lending. The new partnerships with historically black colleges. The scholarship fund for women in tech. It ends with a quote from James Chin. Ms. Raines isn't just rebuilding a company. She's rebuilding a mission. That's the difference between leadership and management. I close the laptop. Breathe. For the first time in years, I feel like I can actually breathe. That evening, I drive to my mother's house in Detroit, 3 hours north. I haven't been home since the divorce. Couldn't face her disappointment. Her I told you so looks. She opens the door before I can knock. Pulls me into a hug that smells like cocoa butter and Sunday dinners. My baby, she says. You came home. I came home. I repeat. We sit in her kitchen. Same yellow curtains. Same table where I did homework. Same feeling of safety I forgot existed. I read the articles, Mama says. She pours sweet tea into glasses that have been in her cabinet since 1987. You did good, baby. Real good. I destroyed a man's life, I say quietly. You stopped a man from destroying more lives. She sits across from me, takes my hand. There's a difference. What if I'm just like him now? What if winning made me into the thing I hated? Mama squeezes my fingers. Baby, let me tell you something. Your father, God rest him, used to say that power doesn't change people. It reveals them. Javon's power revealed a man who takes. Your power is revealing a woman who builds. I'm scared, Mama. Of what? That I'll never trust anyone again. That I'll spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. That the price of winning was too high. She's quiet for a moment. Then she says, You know what the real victory is? Not the company. Not the money. It's that you're sitting here in my kitchen asking these questions. Bad people don't worry about becoming bad. They just are. I cry then. Not pretty tears. Big, ugly, gasping sobs that I've been holding in for months. Mama lets me. Doesn't try to fix it. Just holds my hand while I break apart and slowly piece myself back together. When I finally stop, she pushes a slice of pound cake toward me. Eat. You're too skinny. I laugh. Because that's so perfectly her. I stay the night. Sleep in my childhood bed under a quilt Mama made when I was 12. In the morning, I wake up feeling lighter than I have in years. On the drive back to Atlanta, I think about choices. About the woman I was. The woman I became. The woman I want to be. My phone rings. It's Nia. You sitting down? She asks. I'm driving. Pull over. I do. Heart pounding. What happened? Javon's been arrested. Federal charges. Wire fraud. Money laundering. Tax evasion. The U.S. attorney is throwing everything at him. I grip the steering wheel. When? This morning. They raided his house at 6 a.m. It's all over the news. I should feel triumphant. Vindicated. This is what I wanted, isn't it? Him paying for what he did. But all I feel is tired. How long could he get? I ask. 20 years. Maybe more. 20 years. 2 decades. That's half a life. Celeste? Nia's voice is gentle. You okay? Yeah. I lie. I'm okay. But I'm not. Because watching someone fall, even someone who deserves it, doesn't feel like victory. It just feels like loss. Justice served. But at what cost? Drop a broken heart if you feel her pain. The day of Javon's arraignment, I don't go. Can't stomach it. The media circus. The cameras. Everyone waiting to see if the ex-wife shows up to watch her former husband get destroyed. Instead, I go to the office. Bury myself in work. Loan applications from small businesses in Memphis, Birmingham, Charlotte. A bakery owner who needs $15,000 for new equipment. A landscaping company trying to buy their first truck. These are the stories that matter. Not courtroom drama. Not revenge. Kendra knocks on my door around noon. Ms. Raines, there's someone here to see you. He's very insistent. Who? Says his name is Marcus Whitmore. Javon's younger brother. My chest tightens. I've met Marcus exactly 3 times. Twice at family dinners where Javon's mother made it clear I wasn't good enough. Once at the wedding, where Marcus was best man and gave a speech about loyalty. Send him in. Marcus Whitmore is 31. Teaches high school math in Savannah. Never wanted anything to do with the family business or the family drama. He looks like Javon, but softer somehow. Kinder. Miss Raines! He stands awkwardly in my doorway. Thank you for seeing me. I know I have no right to ask. Sit, I say. What do you need? He sits, wrings his hands. I'm not here to defend my brother. What he did was wrong. All of it. The fraud, the cheating, the way he treated you. Okay, but he's still my brother. And my mother, she's 73. Her heart isn't good. Watching Javon on trial, possibly going to prison, it might kill her. I wait. Let him get to the point. I'm asking if there's anything you can do. Any way to make this easier. I know the prosecutors are using your evidence. If you ask them to show leniency. No. The word comes out harder than I mean it to. Marcus flinches. Please. I'm not asking for Javon. I'm asking for my mother. She doesn't deserve this pain. And I didn't deserve to have my work stolen. My name erased. My marriage destroyed while everyone called me bitter and jealous. My voice rises. I force it back down. Marcus, I'm sorry about your mother. Truly. But I can't stop this. Even if I wanted to. Can't or won't. Both. He stands. Looks at me with something like disappointment. I thought you were different from him. But you're not. You're just better at justifying it. He leaves before I can respond. His words echo all day. Dig under my skin like splinters. That night, I can't sleep. Keep thinking about Gloria Whitmore. Javon's mother. The woman who never accepted me, but who baked me a birthday cake once, back in the early days, before I proved myself unworthy. At 2 a.m., I make a decision I'll probably regret. I call Mia. Someone better be dead. She answers, groggy. I need you to reach out to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Tell them I'm willing to provide a character statement for Javon's sentencing. Long silence. Are you insane? Nia's fully awake now. You want to help him? I want to help his mother. There's a difference. The press will crucify you. After everything he did, you're going to stand up in court and speak on his behalf? Not on his behalf. For the truth. He did terrible things. He deserves punishment. But I also know who he was before the money changed him. That person deserves to be mentioned too. You're making a mistake, Nia says. Probably. But it's my mistake to make. 2 weeks later, I stand in federal court. The room is smaller than I expected. Wood paneling. American flag. Judge's bench looking down on everyone like judgment itself. Javon sits at the defense table. His suit doesn't fit right anymore. He's lost weight. Looks older. When our eyes meet, something passes between us. Recognition, maybe. Or just exhaustion. The prosecutor finishes her statement. 20 years recommended. Restitution. Forfeiture of assets. Then the judge says, I understand we have a victim impact statement from Ms. Celeste Raines. I stand. Walk to the witness stand. Place my hand on a Bible. Swear to tell the truth. The whole truth. Nothing but. Your Honor, I begin. Javon Whitmore stole from me. My work. My reputation. Years of my life. What he did was criminal, and I support the prosecution's case completely. Javon's lawyer looks confused. This isn't helping them. But, I continue, I also need to say something else. The man sitting at that table isn't a monster. He's human. Flawed. Broken in ways that money couldn't fix and power only made worse. I look at Javon. He's crying quietly, trying to hide it. Failing. I loved him once. Truly loved him. And the man I loved wouldn't have done these things. That man got lost somewhere between ambition and achievement, between wanting success and needing more. My voice cracks. I push through. I'm not asking for mercy. He doesn't deserve it. I'm asking for proportionality, for acknowledgement that people are complicated, that punishment should fit not just the crime, but the possibility of redemption. I step down, walk back to my seat. The courtroom buzzes with whispers. The judge takes a recess. 40 minutes that feel like hours. When she returns, she sentences Javon to 8 years. Half what the prosecution wanted. More than the defense hoped for. Mr. Whitmore, the judge says, you betrayed trust, broke laws, and hurt people who believed in you. But Ms. Raines' statement reminded me that justice isn't just about punishment. It's about truth. The truth is you did terrible things. But the truth is also that you're capable of better. Use these 8 years to find that better man. The gavel falls. It's over. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. Questions fly like bullets. Ms. Raines, why did you help your ex-husband? Are you and Javon reconciling? Do you regret pressing charges? I stop. Face the cameras. I didn't help Javon. I told the truth. There's a difference. What he did was wrong. But destroying him completely wouldn't have made me whole. It would have just made me cruel. I push through the crowd. Get into the car where Nia's waiting. That was either the bravest or dumbest thing I've ever seen, she says. Can't it be both? She laughs. Starts driving. My phone buzzes. Text from Marcus Whitmore. Thank you. My mother watched the sentencing. She wanted you to know she's sorry. For everything. I stare at the message. Type back. Tell her I understand. And I forgive her. Because I do. Finally. Completely. She chose grace over revenge. Would you have done the same? Let me know in the comments. 6 months after the trial, Raines and Whitmore Solutions is thriving. Stock price up 43%. Customer satisfaction highest in company history. We've funded over 2,000 small businesses. Created jobs. Changed lives. But the real victory isn't numbers. It's stories. Like Tamara Johnson from Charlotte. Single mother of 3 who used our loan to start a catering business. Last month, she hired her first employee. Or Marcus Chin, no relation to James, who bought his first food truck. Now he's got 3. Planning to open a restaurant. These are the wins that matter. I'm in my office reviewing applications when Kendra buzzes. Ms. Raines, you have a visitor. No appointment, but she's on your approved list. Who? Gloria Whitmore. My heart stutters. Javon's mother. Here. Send her in. Gloria Whitmore is smaller than I remember. Age has bent her shoulders, softened her edges. She walks with a cane now. Each step careful. Measured. Mrs. Whitmore. I stand. Offer my hand. She takes it. Her grip is weak but warm. Celeste. Thank you for seeing me. Of course. Please sit. She settles into the chair slowly. Places her cane against the armrest. I won't take much of your time. I know you're busy. Important. I'm never too busy for you. Her eyes water. That's kind. Kinder than I deserve. I wasn't good to you, Celeste. When you married Javon, I thought you were after his money. His connections. I was wrong. Mrs. Whitmore. Please. Let me finish. She takes a breath. I visited Javon last week. In prison. He's different now. Quiet. Reflective. He talks about you often. About mistakes he can't undo. My throat tightens. How is he? Surviving. Learning, I think. There's a class he's taking. Business ethics. She laughs softly. Bitter. Too late for that lesson. But he's trying. I'm glad he's okay. He asked me to give you something. She reaches into her purse, pulls out an envelope. He wrote you a letter. Asked if I'd deliver it. I said no at first. Thought you'd throw it away. But then I read it, and I realized you should have it. She hands me the envelope. My name in Javon's handwriting. Familiar. Painful. You don't have to read it now, Gloria says. Or ever. But I wanted you to have the choice. Thank you. She stands. I help her. There's one more thing. I came to apologize. For how I treated you. For judging you. For making you feel less than. You were never less than, Celeste. You were always more. I just couldn't see it. Something breaks open in my chest. Years of hurt and anger and resentment. I forgive you. I say. And I mean it. She hugs me. This woman who never hugged me before. Who looked at me like I was dirt on expensive carpet. You're a good woman, she whispers. Better than we deserved. After she leaves, I sit with the envelope for an hour. Just staring. Not opening. Finally, I tear it open. The letter is 3 pages. Handwritten. His writing shakier than I remember. Celeste, I don't know if you'll read this. Don't know if I deserve for you to read this. Probably I don't. I've had 6 months in here to think. About choices. Consequences. The man I became versus the man I wanted to be. And I finally understand something. I didn't lose you because you walked away. I lost you long before that. Every time I took credit for your work. Every time I made you feel small so I could feel big. Every time I chose ego over us. You were right. At the trial. I got lost. Money and power became drugs I couldn't quit. And I destroyed everything good trying to get more of something that never satisfied. I'm not writing to ask forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing to say thank you. For standing up in court. For telling the truth even when you could have let me burn. For being better than me in every way that matters. I hope you're happy. Building the company we dreamed about back when we were just kids with big ideas. I hope you find someone who sees you the way I should have. Who values you the way I didn't. I loved you, Celeste. I still do. But I love myself more. That's the truth I'm finally ready to admit. Be well. Be happy. Be everything you were always meant to be. Javon. I fold the letter. Place it back in the envelope. Wipe tears I didn't know I was crying. There's closure in those words. Not the kind I expected. Not dramatic or satisfying. Just honest. Real. I walk to my window. Look out at Atlanta spreading below. Lights beginning to glow as evening settles. Somewhere out there, lives are being lived. Businesses are being built. Love is being found and lost and found again. My phone rings. Unknown number. For once, I don't hesitate. Hello? Ms. Raines? This is Detective Walsh, Atlanta PD. We met briefly during the fraud investigation. I remember. Is everything okay? Yes, ma'am. I'm actually calling about something else. We're launching a financial literacy program for at-risk youth. Teaching kids about business, credit, avoiding predatory lending. Someone suggested you might be willing to speak. Share your story. My story. The betrayal. The rebuilding. The choice to fight not with destruction, but with truth. I'd love to. I say. Excellent. The first session is next Thursday. If you could give us 30 minutes, I'll give you an hour. Because that's what matters now. Not revenge. Not victory over enemies. Lifting people up. Building something that lasts. After I hang up, I text Nia. We need to start a foundation. Something focused on women in business. Women who've been erased or overlooked or stolen from. She replies immediately. Already drafting the papers. Great minds. I smile. Look at Javon's letter one more time. Then I place it in a drawer. Not forgotten. Just filed away. The past has its place. But it doesn't get to drive anymore. From victim to victor. From broken to builder. This is what real strength looks like. Hit that like button if this story moved you. 1 year later. The Rains Foundation launches on a Tuesday. Same day of the week Javon and I met 8 years ago. Some things come full circle. The event is at the Georgia Tech campus. 200 women attend. Students, entrepreneurs, dreamers who've been told no 1,000 times, but keep showing up anyway. I stand at the podium looking out at faces that remind me of my younger self. Hungry, ambitious, ready to change the world if someone would just give them a chance. My name is Celeste Rains. I begin. And I'm here to tell you about the power of knowing your worth. I tell them everything. The marriage, the betrayal, the stolen credit, the public humiliation, the choice to fight back not with bitterness but with evidence, with truth. You'll meet people who try to diminish you, I say, who take your ideas and call them theirs, who make you feel small so they can feel important. And you'll have a choice, stay silent or speak truth. Heads nod. Some women wipe tears. I chose truth, not revenge. Truth. And that truth rebuilt my life. After the speech, women line up. Want to share their stories. Want advice. Want to know if healing is possible. I listen to each one. Really listen. Because someone once didn't listen to me, and I know how that silence hurts. A young woman named Keisha, 24, computer science major, waits until the end. Ms. Rains, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Do you regret it? Fighting back? Sometimes, I think it would be easier to just stay quiet. Let things go. I consider the question. Really consider it. No. I say finally. I don't regret it. But I also don't celebrate it. What I did wasn't heroic. It was necessary. There's a difference. What's the difference? Heroes want glory. I just wanted justice. And those two things aren't always the same. Keisha nods slowly. Thank you. That actually helps. As she walks away, my phone buzzes. Text from Marcus Whitmore. Javon's being released early. Good behavior. Thought you should know? My stomach flips. Javon. Out in 6 months. Part of me wants to be angry. 6 years isn't enough for what he did. But another part, the part that's been healing slowly, painfully, feels something unexpected. Hope. Not for us. That's over. But hope that he actually learned something. Changed. Became the better man the judge challenged him to find. I text back. Thanks for telling me. I hope he makes good choices. Marcus replies. He wants to reach out. Talk. Would you be open to that? I stare at the message for a long time. Finally type. Not yet. Maybe someday. But not yet. Because some wounds need more time. Some distances should stay measured. That evening, I have dinner with Nia. We celebrate the foundation launch with wine that costs too much and appetizers we can't pronounce. To you, Nia toasts. For turning pain into purpose. To us, I correct. None of this happens without you. We clink glasses. Drink. Laugh about the journey that brought us here. You know what's wild? Nia says. A year ago, you were standing in that ballroom being humiliated. Now you're launching a foundation. Running a company. Changing lives. That's movie stuff. Movies have better lighting. I joke. But she's right. The transformation feels impossible when I think about it. From broken wife to CEO. From victim to voice. What's next? Nia asks. Now that you've conquered the business world, what's the next mountain? I think about that. Really think. Peace, I say finally. Not success or money or recognition. Just peace. Waking up and not feeling like I'm fighting. That's the goal. You'll get there, Nia says. You always do. Later, alone in my penthouse, I stand at the window. Same view. Different woman looking out. My laptop is open on the coffee table. The company website glows. Under the About Us page, there's a new section. Founders. 2 pictures. 2 bios. Mine lists patents. Achievements. The truth. Javon's acknowledges his role. His crimes. His absence. But also his contribution to the foundation we built. Because that's the complicated truth. He did help build it. Before he tried to destroy it. And I can hold both truths at once now. The good he did, and the harm he caused. The love we shared, and the betrayal that ended it. That's growth. Messy. Imperfect. Real. My phone buzzes one final time. Email from an address I don't recognize. Subject line. Thank you. I open it. Ms. Raines. You don't know me? My name is Jennifer Ross. I'm a graduate student at Emory. I attended your foundation launch today. And I just wanted to say thank you. 5 years ago, I developed an app with my business partner. We worked on it for 3 years. When it finally took off, he pushed me out. Took full credit. I walked away because fighting seemed too hard. Too expensive. Too public. But watching you speak today, hearing how you fought back with truth, it gave me courage. I filed a lawsuit this afternoon. I'm taking back what's mine. You didn't just change your own life. You're changing ours too. Thank you for showing us that silence isn't strength. Speaking up is. Jennifer. I read the email 3 times. Each time, something shifts in my chest. This is why it mattered. Not the money. Not the revenge. Not even the justice. These women finding their voices. Fighting their battles. Refusing to stay erased. I reply simply, Jennifer, you already had that courage. I just reminded you it was there. Go take back what's yours. And when you win, help another woman do the same. I hit send. Close my laptop. Stand at the window as Atlanta breathes beneath me. Somewhere in this city, Javon will walk free in 6 months. Somewhere, Sienna is studying to help people. Somewhere, Gloria is praying for her son's redemption. And somewhere, women like Jennifer are deciding to fight. The world keeps spinning. Stories keep unfolding. Endings become beginnings. I think about the girl I was. The one who walked into that ballroom a year ago, hands shaking, voice trembling, about to be humiliated in front of everyone. I wish I could tell her what I know now, that her worst moment was actually her turning point, that being forced to apologize would set her free, that sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're truly made of. My reflection in the window stares back. She's different now. Harder in some ways. Softer in others. Scarred but not broken. Changed but not destroyed. Truth is the only real luxury. I whispered to my reflection. The words feel true. Finally. Completely. My phone rings. It's Mama. Baby, I just watched the video of your speech, she says. I'm so proud of you. Your daddy would be too. Thanks, Mama. You coming home for Thanksgiving? Wouldn't miss it. Good. And baby? Bring someone if you want. Time you started living again. Not just surviving. After we hang up, I think about that. Living versus surviving. There's a difference. I've been surviving for so long. fighting, building, proving. But living? Actually living? That's the next chapter. Not romance necessarily. Not another relationship where I lose myself. But connection, friendship, joy that isn't earned through battle. I pull out my journal. Start writing. Dear Celeste of 1 year ago, you're standing in that ballroom right now. Terrified, humiliated, thinking this is the end of your story. It's not. It's the beginning of something you can't imagine yet. In 12 months, you'll rebuild everything he took. You'll launch a foundation. You'll help hundreds of women find their voices. You'll also learn that victory isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, like closing a door and choosing peace over punishment. The road ahead is hard. There will be moments you want to quit, moments you question if it's worth it, moments you wonder if revenge disguised as justice makes you just like him. But keep going, because on the other side of this pain is a version of yourself you'll actually like. Respect, maybe even love. You're stronger than you know, braver than you feel, and more valuable than anyone ever made you believe. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Love, future Celeste. I close the journal. Place it on the shelf next to business books and leadership guides and all the armor I've collected. Tomorrow, there will be more work. More loans to approve. More women to mentor. More battles to fight. But tonight, I'm just Celeste. Not CO. Not victim. Not victor. Just a woman who survived a war and chose to build peace instead of collecting casualties. My phone buzzes one more time. Text from Nia. Drinks tomorrow? You, me, and Patricia. She wants to talk about expanding the foundation to 10 more cities. I smile. Type back. Absolutely. But I'm buying. Time I celebrated the wins instead of just chasing them. Look at you. Growing and stuff. Nia replies with laughing emojis. I walk to my bedroom. Same penthouse. Same view. But everything feels different. The weight I've been carrying, anger, betrayal, the need to prove myself, it's lighter now. Not gone. Maybe it never fully goes. But manageable. I can breathe without it crushing me. I can sleep without nightmares of everything I lost. I can wake up thinking about what I'm building instead of what was stolen. That's freedom. Real freedom. Not money or power or revenge served cold. Just the ability to exist without constantly looking over my shoulder. As I'm falling asleep, I think about Javon one last time. Not with hate. Not with love either. Just with the acknowledgement that we were both broken people who broke each other worse. Maybe in another timeline, we could have been different. Better. Could have built an empire together instead of destroying each other. But this is the timeline we got. And I'm okay with it. Because this version of me, scarred and strong and still learning, she's someone worth being. I dream that night of the future. Not the past. Not revenge. Just forward motion. Building. Growing. Helping. Living. This is what rising looks like. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just steady. Relentless. True. Celeste Raines took back everything that was stolen. Her name, her work, her power, her peace. But more than that, she took back herself. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications because we're bringing you more stories of real people who refuse to stay broken. Stories of quiet justice. Of truth over revenge. Of women and men who chose to build instead of destroy. Drop a comment below and tell us, what's your version of quiet justice? What truth are you finally ready to speak? Your story might inspire someone else to find their voice. Share this with someone who needs to remember that being silenced doesn't mean staying silent. That losing everything can be the beginning of gaining what actually matters. The real luxury isn't gold or status or revenge. It's peace. It's truth. It's waking up and knowing you chose the hard right over the easy wrong. This is just one story, but there are thousands more waiting to be told. Subscribe so you don't miss them. Because every voice matters. Every truth counts. And every person who refuses to be erased changes the world a little bit. I'm your narrator, and I'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember, truth is the only real luxury. And you're worth fighting for. Subscribe, comment, share. Let's build something beautiful together. End.